Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Let's hit the ladder, shall we? Ooh, consult the talent sleeves. Calic, 4 charges Fate Weave. Could be a brew, could be someone playing Sapphire Diamond Control with Calic as the champion. I've been playing Calic as the champion since before they announced their nerf for Donnie's deck. I didn't think Zedek was very good in this deck. How many Ruby are in this deck? I'm gonna be greedy and keep this. I think this hand's fine. Against this Ayotochi Coin, we can cycle. We need some blood, but this is a Fate Weave, so that's almost a guaranteed blood. There's exactly 2 more Ruby Shards in our deck that this could find that would make us really sad. Even if we do brick for a turn, we've got this Acolyte of Flame that we can deploy. Diamond, okay. Casting with Winter's Grasp up, maybe? Okay, perfect. Take a peek here, see what's going on. No Winter's Grasp. Wow, their hand is really terrible. I'm unsure why they kept 7. Did they maybe Fate Weave on 1? Even if they Fate Weave on 1, they need like a second one, right? They just like don't have any playable cards. I guess these dark cards would kind of be playable. Weave's kind of annoying, but I think I'd like to just take their 2 for 1 here. Their Heart's Whisper draws 2 cards, so picture and then snag this Heart's Whisper out of their hands. The Runebind will be a little annoying with the dark card. Oh. Don't auto pass. I want to play you. Bride is very good. One of those powerful must answer threats. Okay. And that wax is actually pretty bad for them because like they kind of want to get to their champion power so they could Fate Weave. That's smart on my opponent's part. They chose not to play out their wax drops. That way, if I have something like a Cockatrice or a Demented Whispers, they don't have to discard it. Cannibalize is a great pickup here, just like draw 2, lose 2. Okay. Opponent hit a shard. Are they going to deploy a dark card into a potential Herofall? They are not. That's sharp as well. I like that. Other than my opponent's loose 7-card keep, seems like they've played pretty well so far. I'd love to play out this Blood Shard. Yeah, I can hit this champion power, right? This means I'll be up to 8 cards. I can play this to go down to whatnot. And then end step we can cannibalize again here. We're a little flooded here, but these Ayotochi coins we can cycle to gain a little bit extra charges. Okay. It's not exactly, it's a resource eventually, right? That's true. You're not wrong, Marty. Just stating the facts there. I like it. I like just stating the facts. Okay, they hit their second. I wonder if I'm supposed to cannibalize in response there. It's possible I'm supposed to cannibalize in response so they don't get to weave into nothing me. Right now they have Dark Heart, Runebind, Weave, a Wax Sacrament, and then 1 card I don't know. Yeah, I've got a couple of Eternal Seekers at the top end to help clean up candles once they get out of Massacre range. It's the only major difference. Herofall is great. I would like to Withering Gaze you, opponent. This is probably going to get woven into nothing. Yep. So they have Dark Heart, Runebind, and then So do I want to try and Herofall the Dark Heart into a Runebind here, or do I want to just deploy this Acolyte of Flame and cycle an Ayotochi Coin? I think I want to just deploy the Acolyte of Flame and cycle an Ayotochi Coin, because this way I get one look, a draw step, a champion power, and that's 4 draws to the second Herofall, so that way I can go Herofall your Dark Heart, Herofall your Dark Heart again in response to you runebinding it. He was so funny, and the fact that he like started cackling midway through it was just like so perfect. No, they'll runebind their Dark Heart if they're smart, Ace. I don't expect them to runebind. I don't expect them to runebind my Herofall. I expect they'll runebind their card. Picking up her own Dark Heart here is not terrible. I'm glad we had 2 resources that cycle, because we're really flooded here. Alright, I think I'm just going to... This is interesting. So, I can push a little bit extra damage, but I feel like pushing a couple points of damage isn't what this game's going to be about. So I'm just going to go ahead and pass to my opponent's turn. I'm going to Herofall during their ready step. Like if I Herofall now, it gets their thing out of the way, but I don't really care about 3 points of damage, I don't think. I'm going to kill this. Wow, what a blowout. My opponent is just a stone cold idiot, and I didn't get to punish them for it because I Fate Wove a non-resource to top my deck. Alright, so this is, like I said, I liked how my opponents played a lot of this game up until this point, but what they just did there is a pretty huge mistake. So they should have runebound their Dark Heart, is what should have happened there, if they were playing well. But they are not playing well, apparently. I just had the best reads, right? Alright, well now I'm going to sacrifice these.
Mommy's gotta go work.
And then I'm going to go ahead...
Yeah, mommy's bye-bye.
Do... Love you, wife.
Mommy's going into beep beep to go to work. You are correct. Bye-bye.
Huh. So what do I want to do here? So I kept this, which means I probably want to Fate Weave a resource and then Herofall again, right? Probably committed to doing that. Nope, just bad. Doesn't telegraph anything, just bad. I'm gonna play this Massacre just to shrink this to preserve my health total, since the card's not likely to do much this game. Like, knock this down to a 1-3. So, if I would have... And this is actually a really interesting TCG player thing, like, in terms of, like, theory. Like, I made a play assuming my opponent was going to make the correct play, and because I assumed my opponent was going to make the correct play, the game actually ended up much worse for me because my opponent made a play that was suboptimal. That is definitely something that happens sometimes. Alright, well, let's start with Heart's Whisper here, so I can Whisper plus Dark Heart. And again, like, this isn't any real amount of pressure, so... I think I'm actually going to hold this Strangle for now, since my Dark Heart wall's their thing. Also, if I play the Strangle post Candlelight, I'll be able to generate some candles with this, which I really would like to start generating some candles, right? My champion power is 7 charges towards it because of these Ayotochi coins I cycled. Okay, Into the Unknown is, that's fine. I don't really care about that. And again, I'm really glad we just burned that Massacre, right? Because I'd be down to 9, I'd be going to 5 here, and we'd be in a little bit of danger of dying, but because I was a little bit aggressive with my Massacre, that's likely not good anyway, so we have a lot of time to, like, get into this game with our champ power. Withering Gaze is phenomenal. I can make sure this Candlelight's about to resolve. Into the Unknown, Bowie Starlight, Drop of Wax. Alright, I guess I'll take this Into the Unknown. That doesn't seem particularly good, though. I really care about this. What I've left in my deck taking Into the Unknown, basically nothing. I'm gonna take their Drop of Wax. I think I'd rather have that in my deck. I don't think I want to cycle this Disruptor Drone. I think I'd rather wait. I'm going to have, like, plenty of candles at some point. Although there's an argument that I could cycle this now and then have another candle next turn. Yeah, I'm a liar. Let's just cycle it. I just have so many charges. I can basically have 2 more champ powers in the bank here. So we've resolved a Candlelight. So that's probably going to be great for us. Adjudicator is one of their better draws. This lets them pick up 2 cards and puts a threat on the table. I do need to make sure I have an answer for Bowie Starlight, so I'm not going to strangle this just yet. Let's go ahead and play this Acolyte of Flame, and then gobble up one of my 2 things. I think I'd rather eat the candle for now. Journal Seeker's Deece. Let's just do that. Get rid of this. No, they could have been Into the Unknown their Dark Heart. But so importantly, 2 things about Into the Unknowning their own Dark Heart in response there. 1, my Candlelight would still resolve in the fact that all my things would gain Illuminate. So in Hex, just because a card loses all of its targets doesn't mean it fails to resolve. Like the rest of my text that I care about on Candlelight, like their Dark Hearts will be gone. 2, Into the Unknowning doesn't revert the card, so whatever they turned it into, if it was a troop, it would still be -3/-3, so it likely wouldn't do anything. And 3, a lot of the times when you Into the Unknown shardless things, it just doesn't do what you want it to do. Like you're gonna get a resource, you're gonna get something that's pretty bad. Haunting Cry is really good. Let's void one of these, draw 2 cards, lose 2 life, illuminate 1. Hey, look at that. That's what I love when we get into the mid to late game with this deck. You're like, all right, my draw 2 drew another draw 2. LOL, drew a Roid bot. Yes, that is also true what Marty Punker just said. Alright, sweet. So Herofall is a good pickup because it means that I can kill this Silver Talon Adjudicator while still having removal for the Bowie Starlight. Hey, Plagia! Hexing and memes and dreams. Thanks for shilling for our pleasure. 6-month 3 subscription, half a year. Welcome back. I appreciate that. So I'm actually going to Herofall this as opposed to Herofalling the Bowie Starlight because this is their more potent threat, right? I should do this during their ready step. My timing here is suspect. Because, like, if they have a rune bind for this, I'm going to be really sad. They just have a weave. Okay. Am I obligated to kill this and then let their Bowie Starlight survive? Probably not. I think I'm still at a high enough health total that I could just take another hit or 2 from this. I really need a piece of removal to kill Bowie Starlight guaranteed, because I don't want them to bury me in cards. That's a way they could get out from under my Candlelight. And it looks like we're pretty far ahead here, but the fact that I've got just so many resources in my hand means that we're really not. I'm going to go ahead and Strangle him. If you take Bowie off the table, they don't actually draw cards, which is nice. I have a Rune Bind. Alright, this is unique too, right? Yeah. Like another candle, please. There's a non-resource on top of our deck because we Fate Wove last turn. That's a really crappy non-resource. Am I just making my candles bigger? I think I'm just making my candles bigger, right? Just like smashing. I guess this is going to be a 3/3 next turn, potentially. I was watching the real ramp deck last night. It looks sweet. You know how long it'll be in standard for? I kind of don't want to buy into a hex deck that have a rotate radar. Yeah, at least 6 months. And the cards that'll be, what cards are set set 5/6 in that deck. There aren't many of them, right? All of the expensive staples in that deck are going to be around for a while, right? Eternal Seeker is, I forget what set Eternal Seeker is. He's set, yeah, he's Frostheart. Eternal Seeker and Pathfinder are the two expensive cards in that deck, and they're going to be around a while. None of the 2-cost ramp cards are expensive. I mean, like, Pathfinder and Eternal Seeker will be format staples as long as they're legal, is basically my point. Another Haunting Cry. Alright, let's start with that. Getting a little low, but, like, I'm gonna get to do this too here in a second. Man, we are drawing so many bricks. I guess we've just drawn a lot of my deck, right? Like, we've seen a lot of resources here, but I also only have 22 cards left in my deck, so it's just like, have I really drawn that many bricks? No, we've just kind of seen a lot of cards. I think I'm pretty obligated to kill this at this point. I think I want to just make these bigger and then smash for 10 here. There is not. There's just my deck list tool that puts it on the actual stream itself. So opponent, again, with another mistake there. I was going to make my candles 3/3s, and they still would have been able to die to Winter's Grasp that way. I guess it's not a strict mistake, because like if I had another quick action, once they're 3s, I could quick action again in response. But always Starlight hitting here is pretty bad for us. We really need to hit like another copy of Candlelight. Or here's their Psychic Ascension. Okay, so they finally found their PA. Yeah, Hex Standard's usually better designed than having random turn 3 kills, so I guess I'm not surprised that if you found a turn 3 kill, it's in Magic Standard format. You know, the format that's basically unplayable because of decisions that Wizards of the Coast has made. They randomly generated a Glyph of the Sky. What a tilt, which gives them a copycat. Ugh. We're just gonna die to these flyers now. I guess there's 2 Massacres in my deck, right? There's 2 Massacres and a Eternal Seeker. All of those would be good hits right now. All prevent me from dying. Massacre's like a medium hit, right? Because like it cleans my board off too. Just draw another fucking shard. That's really frustrating. Just had 1 Candlelight in 2/3 of our deck and 1 Massacre. Alright. Well, I get to cut some of our awkward spot removal. These Massacres actually aren't very good, even though we're kind of hoping to draw them there. Darkheart's also pretty bad in this matchup. We get to bring in these Reginald's Riposte and these Demented Whispers. Do I want to leave a Strangle in just for like their random Starlights and crap? A Punt Count Infinity with the extremely generous $24.99 a month subscription. Awesome. I'm glad you like the idea of getting a free donation deck list with that. Thanks for the increased level of support, bud. I appreciate it. It was threatening because we were at 8 health. So that means it put us dead on board when I drew another resource. Do I want just a second dark card? Yeah, a second dark card's probably fine. I guess I can put, we can change the gems in these between games. So I guess I'm gonna put charges in these, charges in Gladiator, so that way they give us extra champion powers. I think that sounds great. Yeah, let's do that. Thanks for resubbing so long and for upping it to the big one, Punt Count. Make sure to DM me on Discord or here on Twitch to let me know which one you want to do. And the funny part about that game is too, like, my opponent just has like validation of their like awful keep, so they're gonna keep hands like that again and again and again. Just like 3 diamond resources, no playables. A deck list like what I have on my screen. There's an option to export it from TCG browser, has it built in. I also have Python scripts that updated automatically that tie into the Hex API. You can find it on my GitHub. What's it? So I've been watching God, what's the show called? It's called DC's Legends of Tomorrow. And one of the things they constantly say in that show is that sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic depending on the era that you're in. And it's just like so completely true, right? Just like this is just wizardry. There's no way this can't be anything other than magic. You know, I was thinking about it. We said we weren't actually that flooded that game. We had 16 resources at the end, but we actually cycled 2 Ayotochi Coins that game too, right? So we had 18 shards and 40 cards. I guess that's not that many. 18 over 25 is 72% of our resources. And we were through 2/3 of our deck. Yeah, that's probably not that far off. All right, well, Demented Whispers is a great draw. This is a card that really... This is a card that really pushes... I think the Momentum decks might be okay if the Verdict decks are taking a hit. The Verdict decks were really the decks that were dumpstering the Momentum decks. I might try one of those later today, like the Ardent Momentum deck. The Demented Whispers card is a card that really gives us game in the long game like we had last game. Like, you saw how many cards we saw out of our deck. With 4 Demented Whispers in it, we're able to redraw Demented Whispers pretty consistently, which means eventually we're going to bury our opponent out. We've been to Dark Earth there. They have Clash of Steel in their deck. I guess we went kind of wide. I guess. Just want some more Lotus Cobras to put me down for either key. Sounds good. Sounds good, Punk Out. I'm actually going to hold this Naive Lackey here since my opponent showed me they have Clash of Steel in their deck for whatever reason. It's like mildly resource inefficient now, but like I don't just want to like lose this to a random clash. Yep, Shannon, we're going to do your we're going to do Grixis Delver this afternoon. You're at the top of the list right now. Yeah, probably. Mono Blue's probably an acceptable donation list. That's something I haven't played before that I'd be interested in poking at. Alright, Cannibalize is a great pickup. Just all the cards here. Hopefully we can find a... Worth noting, opponent doesn't have a second Sapphire, so they can't weave, but this is post-reserve, so they could have things like Verdict of the Ancient Kings or Confounding Ire in their deck. Yeah, Jake is at school, so it is. Declan's got his tablet right now, so things are mostly quiet in the Hoogle home. Any chance for Diamond Ruby Candlelight Control? Fulgrim with the 3-month resubscription. Thank you very much and welcome back. I'm not really sure that Diamond Ruby does anything we're really interested in doing. Like, I guess we could play Runic Avalanche. I'm like trying to think like what source of real card advantage do I have playing Diamond paired with Ruby? Like what these blood cards are doing for us a lot is like the ability to like see a lot of cards out of our deck is very, very powerful. Man, I'm so good at flooding with this deck. It's unreal. I'm gonna play this out. Candlelight's a good draw, but they've hit double Sapphire now, so I'm kind of weary of just firing it off. Portalscape is not card advantage. It's just not good enough. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's terrible. We could maybe try Runic Avalanche. Maybe. I think if they just keep passing, not doing anything, I'm just gonna keep pounding them down with these Dorkos. Hopefully they play a Silver Talon Adjudicator here and can Candlelight their dome. Bowie Starlight is just even better for us. How big is this gonna be? I want to just kill this. I think I want to just kill this, right? Then I can Herofall this next turn. It's not, cantrips aren't the problem. Diamond actually has the best cantrip in standard. I know you're being facetious about Narrow Escape, but guidance is very strong, right? What's going on, Sargon? Did I miss lethal? I could have put them to 7 and then done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I did not miss lethal. Again, I'm not going to deploy this Acolyte of Flame out because when we buried my opponent off a Demented Whispers, they have Clash of Steel in their deck, so I'm going to be a little conservative about that. I don't think it's going to affect our clock too much here. Here's an Adjudicator. So this is a little punishing, the fact that they get to draw cards with Adjudicator and I waited. Maybe that's a reason. It's kind of an awkward squeeze for me, right? And step this one. Hopefully draw some non-resources next turn that are worth playing. Yep. Rounding Iron interrupts a blood card. Yeah, I don't really do much limited. I might do, they're bringing back Kismet drafts at the end of the week. I'll probably do some of those. Probably will do some of those. Withering Gaze is a fine pickup. It lets me poke at their hand and it's going to make my candles 2/2s to punch through this. Heart's Whisper, Verdict, Weave. Okay, so their hand is just like a bunch of could be anythings. I think I want to just take their Heart's Whisper away here. Is that true? Yeah, I just don't want them to draw 2, I don't think. My candle's larger. I think this was a mistake. I think I was supposed to make another candle there and then go larger and have 3 2/2s instead of 2 3/3s here. I'll probably trade here, take 5, and then they're going to be almost dead on board. Yeah, so if I'd have sequenced the other way, I think they'd have been... I'm not sure, actually. We're not in a stellar spot here. If they hit a Clash or a Darkheart, we're going to be a little bit behind. Yeah, the candles art gets bigger. Yep. Good beats. And again, just have 10 resources and 20 cards. Tilt. 11 resources and 21 cards. This matchup's usually decent. Just haven't hit any of our draw 2s. Yeah, they do have a Verdict. They have Verdict. We left them with Verdict and Weave, right? I guess the good news is that I'm at 25 and they're not killing us anytime soon. I've got that going for me. We'll hold this for now. I like this deck. I've gotten pretty exceptionally unlucky in this match so far, but we've still been in it. I think if I played a little bit better last game, we would have probably won, even though I got a little bit unlucky. I top 8'd the Bash 3 weeks ago with this deck. I think it was 3 weeks ago. That sounds right. Emrakul is okay in the Pact of Negation slot. Hey, I hurt myself with the 213 subscription. Thank you very much and welcome back. I appreciate the continued support. Do I want to just jam this into a Weave? I think I do. I think I just need to work through their counter magic by playing into it. Yep. They have a Verdict that we know about still. And then 3 cards we don't know. So it sounds strange to say that they're a similar slot, but they're actually both good against Path to Exile decks in general, so they do similar things in the terms of like the dat decks matchups. Oh, we actually we cycled a coin this game too, right? So we're at 13 resources and 25 cards. It's a free block, opponent. Why would you attack? It's a free block. I mean, like, you know, variance plays an element of every game. It's like, we've seen exactly the same number of cards out of our decks now, and our opponent's seen 5 less resources than we have, and they have 5 more cards in their hand, so, like, had they seen a similar number of resources, we would probably be ahead. We really need to find, like, a Withering Gaze or something else that's going to force them to counter. The problem is they probably have multiple interrupts at this point. Alright, fuck it. I know they have a verdict, so I'm just gonna play this. Hope they don't have another weave. Just, of course, they have another weave. They've had... just all the things. As a free block, they have all the interrupts. None of my cards are resolving. None of my cards are resolving. It is a free block. Fucking TCG players, man. Yeah, we're planning to go to Gen Con again this year. I think Ricochet Trap's better than Guttural Response, depending on what you're doing. Another shard? Of course it's another shard. We're so good at drawing resources. Just the best. 15 resources and 28 cards.
What goes on my team? Go team.
And we know they have a verdict, so if they have a second interrupt, we're just dead. Which I assume they do. I mean, I haven't actually drawn that much. Scry, right?
Oh, wait.
Yep. It wasn't a free block. There's definitely a chance your card would have resolved, right? Fucking Hex players, man. Fucking Hex players. All right. Good morning to all you fucking Hex players out there. Hanging out, playing some Blood Ruby mid-range this morning.
I'm a ghost game.
Play your videos. You don't need a game. Hanging out, playing some Hex, flooding and dying. Good old classic TCG stuff. Remember, lower variance doesn't mean none of the variance is, all the variance is gone. If you're enjoying what you see, please make sure you hit that follow button. It doesn't cost you anything, it helps let people find my stuff. If you're really enjoying what you see, please consider subscribing on Twitch. That's the absolute best way you could support my content here is with a subscription. Appreciate everyone hanging out here this morning. Seems okay. Ayotochi Coin on 1, Naive Lackey. The biggest problem that last game, it wasn't even that we drew too many resources. It was the big problem was that we have 6 cards that draw 2 cards in our deck, and in the top half of our deck we only saw 1 of those cards, so like we weren't able to power through the amount of resources we drew by raw card advantage because we just didn't see any of our cards that generated card advantage. We also got through the top half of our deck and only had one Demented Whispers, which is just one of our best cards in that matchup. Sometimes Sometimes your cards just don't line up well against theirs and you flood simultaneously. So like if we need to draw slightly less resources or we need to draw slightly higher impact cards that we're actually doing something. We could unfortunately not afford to do both. Both draw low impact cards and draw too many resources. Do this. So Adani's a deck. Blood Diamond could be a control deck. There's been an aggressive spirits based verdict deck that's been running around. I think the aggressive spirits matchup's probably a little bit hard for us. I think the constants based control deck is probably pretty reasonable for us. Okay. Vampire Prince, probably willing to just massacre that one, take it off the board. I think I want to hold this Strangle for now. Vampire Prince tells me they might be a little bit more aggressive. Withering Gaze is kind of appealing. Okay, yeah, now I'm going to Withering Gaze in Strangle because my opponent could have Twilight Justice that I would like to take away from them. They have Justice and Eclipse. Huh, so that's interesting. We're not that far away. Hey, into some 12 months of last minute Prime resubs so I don't lose Discord access. Thank you very much and welcome back. I appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoyed the Discord. So like, there could be an argument to leaving them both of these since Seeker's going to get to clean them up, but I think leaving them Twilight Justice is going to be a little bit too good. I also just like don't really care about their spot removal. Like, I really don't want to take a Herofall from them because, like, the Herofall Seeker, it's like, whatever, there's only one more in my deck and it already 1-for-1'd you. Yes, Ricochet Trap can make a counterspell target. Ricochet Trap can make the counterspell target Ricochet Trap. Because Ricochet Trap is technically on the stack and a legal target when you're choosing new targets. It's all about Discord. Discord's great. I don't know. Like, it's like IRC for the 21st century, right? So they have Grasp and then Daybreaker. Nightfall. I guess I'll give them a Daybreak so we take slightly less damage here. Do I have a troop in my bin? I do. God bless you, little lackey. I'm gonna do this now since I can Candlelight next turn. Bride of the Damned. Don't care about that one. Take this Herofall out of their hand, which means my Eternal Seeker's gonna get to stick around. Taking 2 a turn from this, so I'm gonna need to rip a resource here at some point. The old 2-shard Bride deck. These decks are so greedy. I guess the real question here is, do I Candlelight this or do I Massacre her? I think I want to Massacre... I don't have another troop in my bin, do I? That sucks. Yeah, I'm just going to Candlelight her, I think. Just, like, get that going on all my stuff. Yeah, Candlelight makes our other stuff better. There are cards that reduce the permanent resources that you have, but there aren't many of them. Resource destruction is one of those things that's just like pretty unfun, and the Hex designers are good about designing their games, so it generates fun gameplay for the most part. I'm gonna Massacre to Illuminate 1. I'm gonna Massacre to Illuminate 1 because this also puts a troop in my bin for this Haunting Cry. So I think I'm in to Massacre for Illuminate 1. Just do another one. Deal. So I'm going to take 2 here from this. I'm going to take 2 from this Haunting Cry, and then we'll be able to Seeker this away next turn. Yeah, Bride's like the most expensive single in Hex. which is kind of strange because like doesn't see that much play. I think it's a price memory thing. TCGs, that happens in Magic too, like how long it's taken Tarmogoyf to come down in price, even though it hasn't been playable in any deck in any format for forever. It's still like a $50 or $60 card. Not so far away, Umi City. I'm gonna turn your sound down because your Umi City is loud, child.
Hey.
I guess since I drew that, I'll spot check for another piece of spot removal here. See what they got. From the Ashes, that's a good one to get rid of. Get a candle.
Wow.
I don't know what new updates means. I don't have an answer to that question. Yes, yeah, I agree, Plagia. It is a mythic rare, but like Eternal Seeker sees way more play than Bride of the Damned, and it's a third of the price. So I think it's just a price memory thing. Right here, showing kind of the power of Eternal Seeker, it just like gives us random answers to things that would otherwise like before I had Eternal Seeker in the deck, we just wouldn't be able to answer that Twilight Eclipse outside of like Darkheart chipping through these Daybreaks, which is really slow a lot of the time. So it's just like, it's another win condition that can also just like power through their stuff. That being said, Darkheart plus Eternal Seeker is not a combo. This is not socketed, so my Darkheart will make me sacrifice this, so I'm not playing this Darkheart out until they deal with my Eternal Seeker. They have a Bride of the Damned in their bin, right? So I'll sacrifice an artifact rather than give you your Bride of the Damned back. Have a Daybreak. I guess I could give them Bride and then Herofall it. That seems scary in the event that they had a Herofall, though. Now we get to go ahead and deploy this Darkheart, and even if they have spot removal for him, he's going to leave behind a 5/4. Whittle through there. It's Bride of the Damned, okay. Let's get to Herofall this. I'm actually going to Herofall this on my turns, that way I don't just immediately lose the candle. Have you ever done a board game stream or plan to do one? We've talked about doing it before, but I've never actually like taken the time to set all the stuff up, because streaming physical games is just a lot of really clunky work. Christy and I have definitely talked about it, but I'm not sure. Maybe we'll do it at some point, since we started setting up stuff for her painting stuff anyways. It's not that far off of what we're setting up for painting. Is that illusion? Darkheart will whittle down these Daybreaks so they stop gaining infinite health. Like, we have cards left in our hand, but Massacre is obviously not very good here against my opponent's control deck. Post-board, these will turn into things that are a little bit more useful. I say what the changes were. Haraza's Burning Banner is no longer going to give plus a power with the changes, and Haraza will no longer give plus power, and the Furiko is going to 8 charges, but that one doesn't really affect Constructed. I think there are some other... Oh, Adani Zadek is going to 4 charges. That one affects Constructed. So the Verdict Champion is going to cost 4 charges. What board games do we play? We have a lot of different stuff we've been playing. And Christy kickstarts a bunch of stuff. So We actually just got a new one called Dinosaur Island that was actually pretty good. The biggest problem with board games, like thinking about the Dinosaur Island one, is that like the amount of setup and pieces that go into the Dinosaur Island game, that to like stream it appropriately with like it being like translatable to the users what we're doing would just be like exceedingly difficult without like an on-screen overlay. And like an on-screen overlay for board games is a lot of work to update, and like at that point we're not playing games, we're just like it like becomes actual work. Oh, I forgot to play resource. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite us. I just cycled the coin, so like my brain was like, oh, we did a thing with the resource, you already played one, but I saw it light up as I passed there. Cycling Ayotochi coin, definitely different. My opponent's like kinda in this game, right? There's their Herofall, their ugly full art non-AAA Herofall. I've never even heard of Scythe. The reverse wasteland effect, yeah, right? I think I'm just gonna play him out. The Dark Heart will eat him, but he replaces himself. This Naive Lackey, he's willing to do terrible things for our pleasure. So one of the things that's kind of interesting, and this is something that I've like kind of like learned and observed by playing Hex for the last while, you know, the CCS has been going on. This is like probably we're getting close to double-digit CCSs at this point. If you're someone that's never competed in a CCS before and you're used to playing Constructed in the Bash tournaments, the CCS tournaments, I don't actually. I should post a list. We have a lot of good ones. We have a lot of ones that I really like. Sorry. So the CCS, the metagame for the CCS is actually less defined than the metagame is for things like the Bash, or probably even the latter. And a big part of that is because half of the people competing in the CCS, probably about a third actually is more fair, about a third of the people competing in the CCS only play limited. They never touch Constructed, and they're just playing because they qualified for free. So like, it's not a tournament where people are like really attached and testing to, and they didn't have to pay an entry fee. So like, am I just giving them a troop back here? I'm just gonna give them a troop back. Enjoy. Have your whatever. Have a daybreak. You were Bride of the Damned deal. So they have 2 Vampire Princes in their hand right now. I guess this slows down my Dark Heart clock a little bit. Herofall you. There was a reveal hand button. Do you think the opponent would concede? Maybe. Maybe. It's gonna From the Ashes here, I think. Clean the board up. Make me a Vampire Prince. Get an Abomination from my Dark Heart. I really want them to kill my vampire, so I have a card. I haven't. The 1/3 number is just an off-the-cuff number, but like, if you consistently like having played in them and like the quality of opponents and like just between like as someone who's gotten random round 1 buys because people are literally joining just to collect their booster packs, like There's actually, even though there's more money, in a lot of ways, especially in the earlier rounds, the CCS actually feels less competitive than the Bash tournaments, especially from the ability to metagame perspective. Like, you shouldn't try to metagame a CCS tournament. You should pick a powerful, proactive deck. So I think Candles is going to be a great choice for the CCS. I think even with the Sockets nerf, Sockets is probably still a good choice. I think Blood Sun's going to go great into Teamer Energy. That's going to be fantastic. Like I said, 98% of statistics are made up on the spot, so that 1/3 number is just a gut. This is what I'm making up based on having played it. But definitely not a scientific number that's backed up by reasonable data and statistics. The Chupacabra! The Chupacabra! The dog that eats a thing. Are you dead, opponent? I bet you're dead to that Candlelight, even if you weren't dead on board. Making me click through it while they're... Oh, they hit their thing. Kill you in response. Kill you in response, opponent. Make a candle. Alright, control deck. Some Strangles out, some Massacres out, bunch of Demented Whispers in. They're on constant, so a couple Disruptor Drones in. Yeah, cut here. Trim an Acolyte of Flame, probably. Sounds good. Sounds good. I wonder if I've trimmed too much removal for Vampire Prince at this point. I think that's very probable. Maybe I want to leave these Strangles in for tagging Princes. Very possible. I'm gonna go run and throw a load of wash in the dryer really quick. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. On today's episode of Kids Are Gross, Declan was eating breakfast this morning and gagged on it and spit up his breakfast all over the blanket, so I had to throw that in the wash today. Opponent's got a lot of good choices here. We've got 3 really good non-troop cards in our hand. What they're going to take here is definitely contextual. I would not be surprised to see the Demented Whispers go away, but I could see arguments. Yep, okay, they're taking our Withering Gaze, yep. Let's stack a non-resource on top at this point. For first 4 guaranteed. This could guarantee a 5th down the line. There's a bunch of decks in this constructed format. There's so much going on in this constructed format. That was Andrew is just kind of bored too, and I was just like, man, there's just so many. I don't have enough time to play all the things I want to play. I've got mid-range decks that are good. I've got control decks that are good. My opponent boarded in Casualty of War against us. God bless us, everyone. They have Demented Whispers of their own here. Probably been Acolyte of Flame. I'm not super attached to any of the cards in my hand. Definitely wasn't attached to that one. It's the worst card in my hand. Deal. Yeah, I think this constructed format's pretty great too. I concur with that assessment. I'm just gonna stack non-resources. I'm gonna be greedy here. Let's just go for the max. Hit some cards that draw cards. Hit some more Demented Whispers, etc., etc. Demented Whispers is great. They slam like a Twilight Eclipse here. I'm gonna be a little bit sad if I brick on a resource. Yep. So this is going to empty two of the next two of their remaining cards out of their hand. It's a good hit. This morning's all Hex picked up, Monk. I'll be back with a Magic stream this afternoon. I'm gonna put a resource on top of my deck here because ideally I'd like to hit a non-slow shard so I can play this dark card out next turn. Interesting that they binned non-slow shard Journey. So like what's the last card in your hand, opponent, if that's what you binned? Are you like holding a removal spell to protect this against dark art? If this makes it to this turn, we're gonna be in a great spot here. Sweet. Okay, take the Eclipse off the table. So we do lose this to the Dark Heart, but that's fine. Another Ayotochi Coin. Alright, sweet. We get to fire up our Candlelight here. I think I want to just fire the Candlelight off pretty willy-nilly here. It insulates me against, like, Withering Gaze later. Okay, sure. They kept a Sunlit sentence. Have a Daybreak. Have a draw a card. Yeah, I think that's fine. I get a 5/4, your turn, opponent. Not sacking the 5/4 to this, obviously. Yeah, it must have been another journey. It must have been another journey. I'm gonna fire this off, try and race them a little bit here. Herofall is kind of medium. Have to leave these in our deck because Bride of the Dam could run away with the game. Alright, another Dark Heart's good. Love your Herofall, thank you. Love to sack this to my champ power. Vamp Prince is their last card, so I'm going to hold this because we know their last card is Vamp Prince. It is a little scary because they're drawing cards off our deck, which have the Illuminate text on them. Twilight Justice is pretty good. Yep. That doesn't seem particularly good for my opponent, but the fact that it lets them go wider around my Dark Heart is very good for them here. Last card is Vampire Prince, yep. Acolyte of Flame. Do I want to let them have this Vampire Prince for a turn? I think I do. I think I want to just hit them with this. Do I want to fire off this Withering Gaze to insulate my 4/3 against my own Dark Heart? I think I want to do that as well. Again, I'm just playing this to illuminate one. They'll lose a Daybreak or a Nightfall here. It's a very, very good turn for them. They got to use actually every piece of the Buffalo that turn. Their best hit off of our deck is like a Demented Whispers here. Take not a resource. And gain a little bit of health, but that's fine. Is this dying now that you... Yep, I took my Herofall and I get to Illuminate. Fortunate. Start with this. Sack a candle, draw a card. I guess I'm Herofalling this anyways. Maybe I could have started with that since it illuminates. Yep, just gain 4. Seems fine. So I have 9-12 power in play. This is not quite lethal if I hit them with everything. Alright, let's start with this, see what we get. Do I want to go bigger here? No, I probably just want to make an extra candle, right? Make an extra candle. Do I want to use this Herofall as 5 damage is like the question. I don't think I do. I think I want to save it in case they hit a Bride of the Damned. I don't know, if they hit a From the Ashes, we could be in trouble. They definitely have 3 to 4 copies of From the Ashes in their deck. Although I guess, like, maybe they boarded that out. I don't know, it's tough. Some people, like, board in Clash of Steel and things like that, and some people don't. Our deck doesn't go wide until it's really winning. They do need something live here or they're gonna die. Verdicts are pretty live for them because it does let them use Twilight Justice and they could choose to give all of our troops -1/-1. So, because they already played their resource here, I'm gonna Herofall their candle in response to this, and the reason why I'm doing this is I want to make my candles 2/2s before my opponent gets to fight in the verdict. My troops get -1/-1. I want to make that verdict less appealing for them. God, I'm such a powerful wizard. Just a powerful wizard. This is again going to make my troops larger. Also, I'll be draw 2 cards, which sounds great. Okay. 2 shards is not great. See what they get here. They could very easily. They're not dead on board as is, right? So we're hoping to rip a Candlelight at this point. Hoping to rip a Candlelight at this point. Get a Phantom, sure. Every turn they live, they put us further and further away from winning the game, right? Because like their advantage is just like snowballing here, basically. Joke's on you, opponent. I don't have any cards. Candlelight. Their Herofall. Yeah, I'm just gonna burn this aggressively. I'm gonna be sad if when they draw Bride of the Damned, but just use this as a deal 3, basically. This gets them down to 4, which means a Candlelight next turn will still be lethal. If I was only putting them to 6 here, they'd go up to 7 from this Daybreak, so I've got 2 turns to draw a Candlelight now, essentially. You know my last card's a shard. Twilight Eclipse. Alright, got 1 shot to draw a shard. I've got 2 copies of Eternal Seeker in my deck too still, so like that's a really good draw as well. So 2 cards that kill them, 2 cards that take their board and make them very sad. That's pretty good. Oh, they're just dead on board, right? They need something that actually made an impact this turn. Attack with everything. Got him. Got him. Got him. Able to get up under in there. You want to pick? All right, up to 68 on the ladder. Let's play one more with this deck. I like grinding people out with this deck. We aim for a variety when I stream, but I like this Candlelight deck. It's like my jam. I like drawing cards and grinding people out. Everyone else out there, thanks for joining us this morning. I'm Jeff Logan playing some Hex Shards of Fate. It's my favorite digital card game. It has a great competitive scene. So this weekend is their invite-only tournament that has $5,000 in cash prizes every single weekend. They have a $1,000 open entry cash tournament that costs $7 to enter. Just really great use of the digital design space in this game. There are a lot of things that reduce variance as opposed to cranking the variance up, like games like Hearthstone tend to do. Yeah, the second Demented Whispers is always great. Yeah, Journey's a very powerful card. If you can live long enough to leverage the advantage, Journey's going to do a lot of work. Everyone's having a great morning. Remember, if you're new and you enjoy what you see, hit that follow button. It doesn't cost you anything, helps grow my channel. If you're really enjoying what you see, please consider subscribing on Twitch. It's the absolute best way you could support my stuff here. Love to go first. Another Adani Zedek, which again, we just played against Adani Zedek, but we don't know necessarily that they're playing the same type of Adani Zedek deck. There's an aggressive Adani Zedek deck that's been running around. There's also the more controlling version, like what we just played against. I'm gonna go ahead and do this into Naive Lackey. There's just a huge rush to get this Withering Gaze down. Next turn I'll probably go Slow Shard into Withering Gaze. Gives my opponent one more draw step, which gives me a chance to see an extra card that I might want to take out of their hand. The downside to this is if my opponent kept like 1 resource guidance, we could have tagged their guidance there potentially, but I think the chances of that are pretty low as opposed to like seeing an extra card that I might care. The Adani Zedek deck, right? Alright, so it looks like my opponent's playing the controlling build again. I want to take here. I think Journey to Nightmare is probably the scarier card. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this. Journey to Nightmare is pretty good. We're gonna be grinding each other out. Twilight Eclipse is a card that could just kill us going long, but like Journey's gonna put us in the ground, and we have Dark Hearts and stuff that could eventually take out the Eclipse. We have the 2 copies of Eternal Seeker as well. I mean, we don't actually know that. Unless you could see the future. If you could see the future, I would recommend doing something far better than speculating on card games on the internet. If you have the ability to see the future, friend, please use it for something more nefarious than predicting the future Hex meta. Pro tip. Lottery numbers, lots of things. This draw is phenomenal for us because it means if my opponent taps out for an Eclipse on 4, we could just go Dark Heart, eat your Eclipse. Herofall's again, not looking stellar here. They haven't joined any of their troops yet. Oh no, don't make me sacrifice a troop. Ooh. 4 cards I don't care about, 1 card I care about. Yay! We didn't get ranched. Donnie Zedek is going to be being changed to 4 charges with the patch tonight. So, one of the things to know about Hex is they don't rebalance or change the text on Hex cards. So, like, once a card is printed, that's the text forever. It's either legal or they ban it if it's too strong. But champions are not something that you buy or invest in. So that means That means they do rebalance and change champions. Interesting that they chose not to play the Twilight Eclipse out here. Yeah, I agree, Snack Size Biscuit. The Adani's deck change is gonna make more, it's gonna have more impact on your second verdict as opposed to your first. I agree. A lot of the times, if you're using the verdict champion correctly, you're not just hammering it on 3, you're waiting till 4, 5, or 6 a lot of the time. Man, we are so fucking good at drawing resources today, it's unreal. Withering Gaze is a good pickup though. What you got? What you got, opponent? Oh, you've got one card that I care about? It's a shame you didn't play that one out. I'm gonna take it away from you now. Take away your toys. What did they have? They had a Glory, a Crawler, a Sunlit, and a Herofall, and then a Shard. Yeah, sounds right. The old Depth Crawler beatdown here. So they have Glory, Sunlit, Herofall, and then one card I don't know. Sunlit's a great card to know about. You can just make it real awkward. 9 shards and 15 cards. Oh god. You could have a 2/2. Enjoy, opponent. Well, I think Sapphire Diamond Control probably should have been playing Calic from the start. Like, whenever we played Sapphire Diamond Control on this stream, we always played Calic because the Verdict Champion's just really rancid in that deck. Which, like, doesn't do anything most of the time. And for some more draw 2s here, we've had 1 Cannibalize and 18 cards. We have seen 2 Withering Gaze and 18 cards, though, so that's been pretty decent. Wouldn't mind drawing my opponent's Journey into Nightmare that's in our deck. Always looking for a Candlelight to start closing the game out. You know, it's possible the Demented Whispers should just be in my main deck, honestly. There's a non-zero chance that that's the case. So how is Hex different from Magic? So the base differences, there's 2 really important things. The first, that the resource system varies a little bit different. If you've played Eternal Card Game copied Hex's resource system verbatim. So basically, you don't have to sit here and manage using specific resources when I play a card, so it makes the gameplay a lot smoother. When I play a resource, I just gain a total permanent resource here, and then it tracks the colors that I've made, and then, or thresholds, as we call them in Hex, and then I have to have the right thresholds to play a card out. Good standard designers is definitely a difference. The Magic standard designers have been really terrible recently. I know you keep putting Kappas there, but like, compared to some of the things WotC's been doing lately, those things are like just true. So this Eternal Seeker, I think I want to just hold this until my just hold this until they have a constant I want to put into play. Like, they probably have more Journey Nightmares and Twilight Eclipses in their deck. Meh. Okay, so fair's fair. Magic Online does do some things better than the Hex client. The Hex client does a lot of things better than Magic Online, but vice versa is also true. The actual in-game interface in Hex is much better, like when you're actually playing the match, but some of the other details in Hex are kind of awkward and clunky. Like, what's it called? The deck editor definitely could use some improvements. Is there a good Drago deck? Yeah, if you go to hexprimal.com, I actually posted a primer on the Ruby Sapphire Drago control deck. Actually, we could play that today. It's another deck that I just love playing. It's a lot of fun. I too enjoy never playing cards on my own turn. Yeah, we'll do that after this, actually. How are we attacking here? Do they think this means their Glory's going to kill this? Because that's not how that works. Oh, so they countercrypted a Smash Magus, sure. Don't get me wrong. I like Hex more than Magic in general, and I think overall the Hex client's a little bit better, but I think it's unfair to Magic Online to say that it does everything worse than Hex. I just think that's not true. Do I want to Herofall this 6/6 is a real question. Twilight Eclipse. Now I definitely don't want to Herofall this 6/6 because I want to take this Twilight Eclipse off the table, and my Eternal Seeker here says choose a number, void all cards of that number. So we're going to get rid of both of these 4s here. So, ooh, they just let that back on defense. That's so good for us. We drew a Haunting Cry to draw 2 cards. Man, everything is coming up Millhouse, ladies and gentlemen. Everything is coming up Millhouse, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for this. I'm actually going to go ahead and Haunting Cry now because we have 2 more Withering Gazes in my deck, and I could pick one of those up to snag the Herofall out of their hand that they can't play yet. No, I think they mean the drafting interface, Dwight. I think they mean the drafting interface. Yeah, this is my favorite part of this deck, when our draw 2s draw more draw 2s. That's my absolute favorite. They have a Sunlit Sentence we have to be aware of, so like I'm not going to run both of my troops in here, but we can definitely attack with one of them. And I'm going to attack with Eternal Seeker because I'd much rather they Herofall this Abomination than Herofall my Eternal Seeker. They get 2 verdicts here. You can have a Daybreak. You can have a Daybreak. So it'll be a little bit harder to kill here, but that's fine. We hit our Candlelight here, which is going to make the rest of our actions be great. You did miss the Mono Green Devotion stream. You can find that on YouTube now. As always, all my streams get archived to YouTube. I'm cautious to say use terms like strictly better or strictly worse. I enjoy Hex more because what I'm looking for in a card game is a competitive outlet. In terms of a competitive outlet, I think Hex is a better choice than Eternal. In terms of quick gameplay, Eternal has a lot of focus on like their ladder is best of 1, the Hex ladder is best of 3. So like from the aspect of what's the words I'm searching for? Like playing a game while you wait in line for 5 minutes, or like playing a game while you poop. I think Eternal's a better game from that perspective. Again, I don't like to do like ultimatum, strictly better, strictly worse type bullshit. But I do think Hex does a lot of things right, and like the fact that they have big tournaments every weekend is something that I enjoy as well. The deck editor in Magic Online is light years better. Anything better? Or you're saying, is there anything else in Magic Online that's better other than the deck editor? Is that your question? I'm going to sacrifice this because I know they have an Aldurthan's Glory in their hand. And they're going to get to eat that anyways, since I made it 3 defense. Am I discarding a card at this point? I think I am. I think I don't want them to have another Daybreak. Which seems kind of weird, but like, they're just like, I need to actually kill them at some point, right? You could make an argument, Waffle, that having some kind of on-demand value for Constructed is good. Like, the ladder's great, but I really wish Immortal Gauntlets were a thing. Just like some way to play entry fees on demand. The game log. Game log's a good one. What? You want a waffle? Mm-hmm. Alright, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go make Declan a waffle. It's cooking, you can have it in a minute. Someone remind me in 2 minutes that Declan has a waffle in the toaster and I need to go get it. Would anyone else like a waffle? It's possible I should have given them a daybreak there instead of discarding another card. Because now if they slam Glory, well, I guess it gets rid of the Phantom. What a tilt. Our Journey drew another Journey off their deck. That's so good for us. Yeah, I think we're going to bury them at this point. Not playing my dark card because I don't want to discard, sacrifice my Journey. So we'll draw 2 cards off their deck every turn. What's going on, Hex Hunter? This is just too funny. If all you want to do is draft, what game would you suggest and why? Well, it depends on what your goal from drafting is. So because Hex is a full buy, sell, trade secondary market, you can make actual money drafting in Hex. So you can like sell the cards that you draft for real money. So if you're good at drafting and you want to make a little bit extra money while you play your game, Hex is definitely better from that aspect. Dude, the waffle's coming. It's got to cook. I'm going to go right back up in a second here and get you a waffle. Journey Mill. Let's go. They might make a sacrifice 2 of these. Off this Twilight Justice if they're really good. All right, did your card. Haunting Cry is a great draw. I'm going to take the Eternal Seeker out of my bin so they can't from the Ashes it back. Take your Sunlit Sentence, make a candle. Am I playing this dark card out? I think I am, actually. That's a good question. I'm unsure. I should go check. Sacrifice the thing, opponent. Alright. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get some waffles for Declan. You want your waffles? Here's some waffles and some water. All right. So, worth noting, you can strangle your own troops. Why the Dark Heart? They get to kill your candle and you have to sacrifice half your current win condition. It's not like you'll get through the punch through daybreaks. I mean, it get a card out of their hand, right? Like, I was interested in getting a card out of their hand. Mostly because I had the Strangle. If I didn't have the Strangle there to kill my own Dark Card, I wouldn't have done what I just did. This match has been a slog. Getting the candle back from our crypt is pretty terrible. This is a downside to having voided our Eternal Seeker. I strangled my Dark Heart because I didn't want to sacrifice one of my journeys in a nightmare. Yeah, playing the troops out insulated us against their potential verdicts that they could generate. You know, Mr. Peabody? Okay. Hey, Krail! With the 4-month resubscription. Thank you very much and welcome back. I appreciate the continued support. I did have a Diamond Ice. That's funny. You're right, I didn't even notice that. This probably isn't a Reynolds or Riposte matchup. There's definitely a Strangle out. It's definitely a Massacre out. Dark Heart's fine. I think I want charges in the... Do I want the Gladiator or do I want charges? It's a tough question. I wasn't thinking about it. Why didn't you make the good play, Hogland? Because I'm a bonehead and didn't see it. That's why. That's why. Why'd you mess up? Because I'm an idiot. Yep, so some spot removal, sweepers out, bring in Demented Whispers and Disruptor Drones. Alright, we're gonna play one more. We're gonna play one more match with this. Oh, they didn't have Strangle in their deck. Yeah, Abomination's probably fine. If they had Strangle, it'd be worse, but... Oh, speed on DH because they don't have... Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I like that. I like that. Remember, you're customized. Someone's asked about differences between Hex and Magic. Customizable cards are one of the best things. So this card, you choose what customizations it has based on what shards are in your deck at deck building. And you can change what customizations are in your cards in between games while you're reserving here. Kind of let your cards be flexible and customizable as you play, which is sweet. If you're one of my people that's normally a Magic player and you're interested in learning more about Hex, I have an article called How to Hex here. Kind of talks about some of the key differences. No, yeah, that's fair. Is this a new brew? This is an old brew. I top 8'd one of the first or second CCS of this season with something that was very close to this deck. I'm going to lead on Withering Gaze on one here because I don't want to get Demented Whispers or Withering Gaze back next turn. Yeah, look at that. And this is sweet here. Demented Whispers. So I get to take their Demented Whispers away from them, which means I now have 5 Demented Whispers in my deck. So I'm going to have 5 of this Escalate card to draw to, which is just aces. About double damage. No, I think I'd rather... This game usually isn't about cheesing them out. It's about going long. So I think I'd rather have the Abomination Gem to allow me to grind a little bit better. I think speed is fine, but does Dark Heart rotate with the next... Dark Heart will rotate with the next rotation, but the next rotation isn't happening until set 10. So Hex rotates the 2 oldest sets every even set release. So we just had set 8 release, so when set 10 releases, sets 5 and 6 will rotate out. But that's not going to be for probably somewhere between like 5 and 7 months from now. Huh. I'm going to bin this Dark Heart for now. I don't think I really need it. The rest of my cards are more important. So next turn, we're going to get 3 draws. We get our draw step, plus this, plus the champion power here. So hopefully we can find a Demented Whispers and knock 2 cards out of their hands here. Just mind drop mirror matches. One thing that will happen, I was just about to say, set 9, every odd set release. So cards rotate with even set releases, but gems change with odd set releases. So when set 9 releases, Dark Heart will kind of be a functionally different card because the customizations you could put into it will be different than they are now. No, champions are tied to set releases, BDP. So when set 10 releases, set 5 and 6 champions will rotate. Will there be Magic today? Yeah, this afternoon we play Magic. You can always check out my streaming schedule at jeffhoagland.com/gaming. My schedule calendar is on there. Oh, I found a diamond. Yep, there's new champions in every set. New champions in every set. I have a Phantom. Demented Whispers. It's the only card I want to draw. Tilt. I'm going to play this out, put a non-resource on top of my deck. Just want to play this Candlelight as soon as possible, get it out of my hand so it's not susceptible to Withering Gazes, Demented Whispers, random discards off of verdicts. It is... we don't have a guarantee. They change anywhere from some to all of the gems every rotation, so I'm unsure. We don't know in advance which ones are going to leave. I would be pretty surprised if charges and minus cost didn't leave, though. I think those are the two most powerful ones, and they'll want to shake things up a little bit. I'm gonna champ power this, because if I hit a Demented Whispers this turn, I'm gonna empty their hand out. Did not hit Demented Whispers. I think if the minus cost gem rotates, that's a really big deal for Dark Heart. I'm just going to go ahead and dome them with this because it just starts making all of our other actions better. Now this will make a thing for me. And you're on a lot of resources, but at least we're ahead this game. Casualty of War, they have a Disruptor Drone as well. Alright, I guess we'll find out if they want to play this and smash them, I guess. Rawr, Speedy Dark Heart. Hey, the Judginator with the donation. Streamlabs, I don't know if Streamlabs open. Gotta find the donation message. I need to fix the formatting of my donation messages. Please add Darwin in the park in Aliens to queue. I'm assuming you mean Eldrazi Evolution? I'm assuming that means Eldrazi Evolution. If that means something other than Eldrazi Evolution, let me know. Sounds good. Again, they're from the Ashes deck, so I'm going to get rid of this Seeker. I don't think the Majesty decks are actually that good. I think they're like fine, but I actually think the lower variance Majesty decks that play like Surging Wildfire and less Walking Calamities are actually better than the ones just trying to flip Clambakes into play. Alright, I'm gonna attack first here just in case they have spot removal. Oh, I guess this is bad against no, that Sunlit Sentence is double. This might be a concession, Whispers. This might be a concession, Whispers. Like, lose your last two cards. And one of the sweet things about Demented Whispers in this deck is it's an alternate win condition, right? Isn't Immortal going to be mostly about Spell Shield Ruiners? Maybe. There's still pretty powerful combo decks left in the format. Like, yeah, I'm okay losing Dark Heart at this point, I think. The Cyclone Shaper based combo decks, like Turbo Psychic Ascension is going to still be a deck in the new format. Like, the Happy Clouds taking all the turns deck is still going to be a deck in the new format. Yeah. Like, and those decks don't really give a shit about Spell Shield Ruiner Hierophants. I'm really excited for the changes to Immortal. People ask me, like, what I would have done differently, and unlike Wizards of the Coast, when they make a ban list update, and I'd say I would do everything differently, Corey Burkhart and the Hex team, they did exactly what I would do with the Hex ban list. So the decisions they made is the same thing I would have done if I was in charge of the Hex ban list. I don't know the exact details on what it's like. Probably should have attacked first. So they have spot removal. They're going to kill my Abomination now. Yeah, I think that was a free attack. I think I missed 4 points of damage now because I don't think they would have hero falled if I hadn't done that in response. And one of the kind of neat things about Demented Whispers here now is that my Demented Whispers, even though my opponent's out of cards in their hand, they're now burying like 9 and 12 cards off the top of my opponent's deck. So that means that the next one I draw is still going to be advancing me towards winning the game because I'm just going to mill them out. And I mean, like, to be fair, the hideous conversion shells for Immortal, those decks were basically like value mid-range decks. So there's still going to be like a Blood Wild Spell Shield Ruiner Hierophant mid-range deck. It's just going to be interactive now instead of like having this degenerate combo. I don't think Lasgard's Vengeance banned anything out, which is why it's exactly like when it was in Standard, right? It's a good ban because it takes the decks that are like 11s and 12s on the power level and it pulls them back down to being like 7s and 8s. So they're like reasonable competitive decks, but they're still good in the context of the format. They're just not insane anymore. Steel Intel, lordy. They're taking a Haunting Cry, really? Okay. I guess I'm glad I scrounged the Eternal Seeker. Ooh, so they're gonna get to draw 3 with this because it's already been scrounged. Interesting. Interesting. Oh no, don't make me sacrifice a troop. Whichever troop will I sacrifice? I don't have a list offhand for Immortal Turbo P. Honestly, it's probably just start with the list that we played in Standard and go from there. They're dead, right? And just, like, kill all of their things and then scrounge a bunch. Watch them have Sunlit Sentence. They GG'd me and then have Sunlit Sentence. That's just like such the next level. Just like, I'd give my opponent a round of applause. Just like the GG's in chat with Sunlit Sentence up. Sunlit Sentence you when you attack with everything. Just like middle fingers to the sky. Alright. Turbo PA with Dreaming Fox. That's, I don't know if Turbo P actually wants Dreaming Fox. Getting the candle from the champion power is pretty relevant. All right, so let's play something else.